A few years ago, I decided to actively focus on adding more compassion into different areas of my life. And after doing so, I physically and emotionally felt the benefits and effects of doing so in my daily mindfulness. My name is Julia Bennani, and today I will be sharing with you about how compassion affects different parts of people's lives. First, I'd like to discuss the healing properties that compassion has to offer. In a study done in 2020, it compared the relative effectiveness of happiness, love, and compassion as antidotes for anxiety. The participants were about 200 undergraduates that averaged about 19 years of age. About 58% were female and 42 were male. They self-reported their emotions, and these said emotions were induced by recalling autobiographical memories. The results showed that all three positive emotions significantly reduced anxiety. These three emotions were happiness, love, and compassion. So with that said, they concluded that more specific research still needed to be done on the subject, specifically with these emotions in mind. Second, we will be talking about the relationship between compassion and parenting and the way showing compassion can affect the way that children grow up. So in this study, they examined whether the qualities of parent-child relationships, such as emotional warmth and acceptance, predict offspring compassion decades later in adulthood. The sample included over 2,700 participants, almost split 50-50 male-female, about 55% women, and the parent-child relationship qualities were reported by each participant's parents at baseline in 1980 when the participants were between 3 and 18 years old, meaning that compassion was self-reported over the course of time. These results showed that a higher acceptance and higher emotional warmth were related to higher compassion in adulthood. Quality of the parent-child relationship has long-term effects on offspring compassion. An emotionally warm and close relationship in particular might contribute to higher offspring compassion in adulthood. And some of you might be able to compare these results to the way that you grew up and the relationships that you hold with compassion and the way that you were raised. So in other words, fitting compassion more mindfully into parenting styles can go a long way for children and their future. Third, in relevance to this last article, a study done in 2021 describes how self-compassion relates to thoughts, feelings, and behaviors within the context of current personal relationships between family members, romantic relationships, partners, friends, or others. More specifically, this study extracted data from about 72 articles that met inclusion criteria by consensus and compiled them together for analysis. The results found that self-compassion is positively associated with secure attachment, adaptive parenting behaviors, healthy family, romantic and friendship functioning, and constructive conflict and transgression repair behavior. In families, evidence suggests that parent self-compassion is linked to supportive parenting behavior, which is in turn linked to higher levels of child self-compassion. So the moral of the story is that if we're compassionate with ourselves, then it will positively affect our relationship with others that are most close to us. So next, as we continue this conversation of how our own compassion levels can affect those around us, another study found that if we practice self-compassion, then we will be better with conflict resolution with those we are in romantic relationships with. In this study, 163 adult individuals involved a serious romantic relationship for at least 2 years, and they responded to a questionnaire that assessed self-compassion, personality factors, conflict resolution styles, and even relationship satisfaction. The results found that high compassionate partners reported more functional and less dysfunctional styles when statistically controlling for demographics, neuroticism, and agreeableness, and helped with overall relationship satisfaction. This is great to understand because similar to the last article that I showed you, evidence suggests that if you are more compassionate to yourself, then you will be more compassionate towards others, and it relates to your relationship satisfaction. Lastly, I had to include this study because, as most of us are about to enter the work world, we will battle many emotions that we face in our work world. So I found a peer-reviewed article that analyzes two studies that look at compassion in the workplace. Findings from these studies show that compassion occurs with relative frequency among a wide variety of individuals, suggesting that there is a relationship between experienced compassion, positive emotion, and effective commitment. A complementary narrative study reveals that a wide range of compassion triggers and it illuminates the ways that work colleagues respond to suffering. These two together demonstrate that experienced compassion provides important sense-making occasions where employees who either receive, witness, or participate in the delivery of compassion reshape their understanding and mindfulness of their coworkers, themselves, and their organizations. These are all really important to keep in mind as we continue to do our best to live our most mindful lives. Two things that resonated with me from this research was one, how self-compassion is related to our quality of relationships with others. And two, it's never too late and there's never a bad time to start being compassionate, both to ourselves and to others, so that we can continue to work on and live our most mindful lives. Like we discussed in class, being compassionate with others can be hard and draining, but as long as you don't let it take over your whole life, it can be very rewarding. And remember, compassion always wins.